Welcome to Split Time. I'm your host, Garrett McCaffrey, and this week we talk about the first championship season of the post-shiny suit era. That's right. In case you guys haven't been paying attention over the past couple weeks, we've had some high school championships, and the post-shiny suit era is underway, and we're still seeing records. Just last week, we saw Dagny Knutson break a national high school record in both the 200 IM and the 100 freestyle. It was a time so fast in the 200 IM that it was less than a second off of Julia Smith's national U.S. Open record in that event. So to discuss this surprising, if you will, occurrence of post-shiny suit era records, we're going to bring in Chris DeSantis joining us from Atlanta, Georgia. Chris, how are you doing, my friend?
You know what? We had 70-degree temps, and I'm loving it.
In Atlanta?
Yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. It was fantastic.
Nice. That's starting to get winter time here in Phoenix, but let's move on from weather talk and let's talk about some swimming. Over the past week, we not only saw Dagny tear it up at her state championship in North Dakota, we also saw a Bulls squad that put together the fastest 200 the 200 medley relay of any high school team we've ever seen. So the high school kids are probably proven to the rest of the swimming community that this post-suit era is going to be okay. Do you disagree?
I don't disagree at all, and I would add that our friend Sean Klosterman wrote a very nice blog post about Missouri high school states where he said, everybody was expecting a little bit of a rollback in performance. Missouri had what they considered to be a really great year last year, but people were feeling a little reserved about it because of the suits. And now it turns out if you go event by event, they were faster than the previous year without the suits, with boys and jammers. And so I think that's an impression of what we're seeing around the country.
Now, as a swim coach yourself, what do you attribute this to? I mean, there's two trains of thought. One, it's the mental side of it, and these guys have gone that fast before, so it's already ingrained in them that they can go that fast. They are capable of those kind of times. Or, on the other side, is it the fact that coaches have learned something about the benefits that suits created and have done something in their training, or maybe have made some adjustments in the stroke technique that have changed the way that that kids approach these type of events?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head there, that there's absolutely no greater limiting factor than belief. And swimmers believe that they can go a certain speed now, regardless of what they're wearing. And I think you're seeing that evident in the performances so far this fall. And it's not just in high school. I mean, Nathan Adrian is swimming incredibly fast in college. Matt Grievers, a post-grad swimmer, is swimming very well. So I think, people have been sort of avoiding comment on these World Cup races because a lot of people are still in the bodysuits, but belief undeniably a part of it. And I think a lot of the top coaches in the country are also in consensus that there's something we learned from how fast people swim in bodysuits, and that can be applied to training, and that we will very soon, if not already, surpass those performances.
Yeah, and you hit a good point as well. It's not only happening on the high school level where kids are kind of expected to improve consistently. Nathan Adrian went 19-1 in a brief last week. 19-1 in a brief. That kind of early season speed is something we only saw last year in these, in these shiny suits, supposedly. 19-1 means that we're going to see a sub-1950 freestyle in all likelihood. I shouldn't say that's a guarantee by any means, but to see a 19-1 in November usually means you're going to see something at least 2 to 3 tenths faster in March, I would assume. And then Matt Grievers going 141 in a 200 backstroke in an exhibition, not even racing anybody. It's beginning to look like the post-shiny suit era might not be as dreadful as everyone was initially thinking. And I think that it's exciting. It's good. I'm ready for it. Now bring it on. I mean, I got to admit, I was a little nervous myself. I didn't know if this next generation of suit, this next era of swimming was going to live up to the hype. I don't think we're going to see a World Cup stop like we saw last weekend in Berlin where 16 world records go down, but we're still going to see fast swimming. And I guess the question that I want to ask you, Chris, do you think that it's going to change the order of finishes? Because a lot of people believed in this high-tech suit era that some people received more benefit than others, and it rewarded some of the less in shape swimmers. Do you see a change in the order when it comes to some of the big events this coming summer as opposed to last summer?
Well, Garrett, this is actually a topic I'm fairly passionate about because that's a claim that's been thrown out there. I think everybody loves to say, well, yeah, these bodysuits, they're really helping some people over others, and it's affecting international championships. But I wrote a blog post about it today, and it had to do with Cecil Colwyn basically saying, and this is Cecil Colwyn, this is a Hall of Fame coach, has coached all around the Commonwealth, Canada, South Africa, phenomenal swim coach. He's published several books, and he said, that there were all these unknowns setting world records at World Championships this summer. Well, it's not true. Most of the people that set world records or won at World Championships this summer were not unknown. These were people that were finishing in the top 10 consistently before the shiny suit era, or were medaling before the shiny suit era, so that it didn't come out of nowhere. And I think people are going to be surprised by how little change there is. And remember that swimming is always very unstable, and that is you'll always see people have breakouts in a given year. People who you didn't think were going to medal maybe win or take a silver or bronze. And so there's always a great degree of instability, and people that were established champions fall off. And so I think things will continue on as normal, if that answers your question.
It does, and I think another thing that might not change in this new suit era is using these high-tech suits in practice, and that could be in large part to the fact that Bob Bowman came out publicly and said that he plans on using the laser in practice, whether that is his helping out his company and saying that so that every single coach in America says, oh, Bob Bowman's going to use these in practice. We better swoop these up, thus helping some of these suit companies that have a lot of high-tech suits in their warehouses, and they're trying to get rid of them. But as a swim coach, Chris, do you see that as a beneficial tool for practice?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think, you almost wish that you could still use these suits. Maybe not in your championship meet at the end of the year, maybe not for qualifying, but it was undeniable the ability of the previous generation of suits for you to be able to slap a suit on someone who was not rested, not fully prepared to swim fast, and they could swim very quickly, very close to their peak. It just did some things, and I'm not denying at all the sort of amazing performance enhancement that these suits had. And so, yes, it has been it can be a great training tool. We've used it here in practice down at Georgia Tech. We've put the suits on people here this fall because, hey, we got thousands of dollars worth of suit that we're not going to be able to use for anything else. So why not?
Yep, absolutely. Chris, I really appreciate your time. As always, love the perspective. It's a topic that we're going to continue to talk to all the way through January 1st, and I'm just glad that we've got our first taste of celebration. We've seen some records go down, and I'm glad that we get a chance to talk about it as well. Chris, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, just to end things, Garrett, it's a win-win for everybody when people swim fast in this post-shiny suit era. If you were upset about the suits, you're excited to see that there's still some amazing performances that can happen without them. And if you love the suits and you thought people were just making a great deal of progress regardless, I think there's evidence of that too. So it's a win-win for everybody.
I agree completely. It's just good to be celebrating swimming. So again, our thanks to Chris DeSantis. I'm your host, Garrett McCaffrey, and for this week, that's your Split Time.